Sri Lanka's most powerful news brand.
Bringing you the latest news from around the world, and here at home, I'm Sandro Ferdinando.
And I'm Azra Sana. Before we head into our stories in detail, let's take a look at the headlines.
3 joint opposition parties attend UPFA Executive Committee meeting. Minister Mahinda Samarasinghe announces strict action against SLFP members representing other parties. Sri Lankan ODI squad turned back at BIA for failing to receive Sports Minister's approval. Strong winds and rains forecast for northern and eastern provinces in the next 24 hours.
Several members of the joint opposition, including its leader, Parliamentarian Dinesh Gunawardena, attended the United People's Freedom Alliance Executive Committee meeting at the Presidential Palace this afternoon.
The meeting, which was held under the auspices of the President, was attended by the Mahajana Eksat Peramuna, Desha Vimukti Janata Party and the Sri Lanka Mahajana Party representing the joint opposition. Some of the representatives of these parties who are also executive committee members of the UPFA were present for the meeting. Other constituent parties of the UPFA, including the Ceylon Workers' Congress and National Congress, were also among the attendees.
The UPFA Executive Committee was summoned today. UPFA Executive Committee consists of parties, and we are founder members, the MEP, the Sri Lanka Mahajana Party and the Desha Vimukti Party. And we continue to be ex-co members of the party, of the front. As a result, we went and participated, and we proposed a resolution which contains, number 1, that parties of the alliance can contest separately if they so decide. Secondly, that it should be a free and fair election, totally devoid of salary and intimidation. Our resolution was unanimously accepted by the court. Parties of the joint opposition, the leaders were kept informed that we would be attending today's executive committee, and the concurrence was given to us to attend.
We took a decision today that MPs who represent the Sri Lanka Freedom Party under the United People's Freedom Alliance shall not campaign for any other candidate other than those contesting for the SLFP and UPFA, and that they shall support the groups contesting under our ticket. He made a request at the UPFA meeting to grant them permission to contest separately or independently under their respective parties in those particular electorates. We approved this with no issue. We are definitely in a winning position. We are in a far better position than when we started. No one will leave the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. As an alliance, Mahinda Rajapaksa is in favour and so are the party seniors, but a small group are not. This is where the problem stemmed from. Collaborating with the flower bud is not relevant to us. We are the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. What the others have to do is to join with the SLFP. Whether or not they would do, that is up to them to decide. We, as a party, will victoriously contest the election.
අපි මේ මැතිවරණේ ජයග්‍රහීව ඉදිරිපත් වෙනවා.
ඔබතුමාලා දැන් තනියම ඒකාපත් කැමති නැහැ එකට යන්න ඒකාපත් පක්ෂේ.
මොකද්ද මේ මලපද්දේ හැමතිස්සෙම විශේෂයෙන්ම පුළුල් සඳහන්.
It was decided to contest the election with a strong alliance and that everyone should work together towards the victory of the party.
එක්ව කටයුතු කිරීමට තීරණය කළා.
Deputy Leader of the National Freedom Front, MP Veerakumar Disanayake, convened a media briefing in Anuradhapura today.
The decision whether I am going to join the government or not depends on what we do now. The forces that worked to defeat Mahinda Rajapaksa in 2015 are once again in force to ensure he does not have any respect or dignity at all. If one needs to destroy him, there is only one way. That is to move him to a side and squash him. They quote the people saying, if he leaves, the people will not vote again. They issue warnings if he is to enter into a merger. Is this thought by the people the correct one? If one can give an answer by selecting either of the two maps of Sri Lanka, then we can accept an answer. People who do not want harmony decide on this map. There is an equation they have made here. In this equation, all are losers. This is their view for the 2020 presidential election. Therefore, is this not an agenda that is being prepared for the 2020 presidential election? Who prepares this? Political leaders have become neuter. Political leaders have become neuter. Political leaders do not act like this. They are afraid to say things against Wickramasinghe. Because of that fear, they say we are leaving. It does not matter if we leave or stay, if this is the type of politics that they will follow. Do we need to bring Wickramasinghe harm here? Those who want to work against Mahinda Rajapaksa are working with Wickramasinghe. They want divisions. They want us to act separately. This is a political crime. If those who want to separate are saying this is not the picture of prompting separation, what is the picture they claim to show separation? This is their map of unity. There are issues, but this is the solution if you unite. One can decide on one of these two answers placed before them. You can select one if this determines what Veerakumar is trying to do. The leaders have become neuter and are in hiding. They are just attacking Wickramasinghe using a catapult and trying to become heroes. Once they reach a position, they use the media fora to spread various misconceptions to the people. They do this to deceive the people and the country so they can engage in their illicit acts. Allowing this to continue is a dangerous precedent to the country. The intelligent people of this country must understand the story behind these two images. The people know the government of Chandrika Bandaranaike was a lifeless body. But we entered into probation because we feared Wickramasinghe would become president in 2005 and ruin this country. This game started back then. This has been in the working since 2000. SB defected at that time. There is no point in saying anything to Veerakumar. The leaders must respond to these statements. The people must be made aware of the truth. In politics, there is no eternal unification or eternal separation. I will not follow this policy. Veerakumar does not have a desire for dollars. The people who made this map are the ones who have taken dollars. Because Wickramasinghe has the files and because they fear him, they are doing things in hiding. I am aware of that type of politics. He believes he can win if he contests separately. I believe that is wrong. I believe that unity will lead us to victory. I am aiming this at all of them. This is my opinion and it has no leadership. I am my own captain and the people are with me. How did the flower buds merge? Vimal Veeravansa did not attend yesterday. Gamman Pilla did not attend. They are left saying that Basil should be removed. That is the situation. Gotabaya is trying to contest the 2020 election against Mahinda. They have put up posters saying we are afraid. We are afraid of Gota. Our opinion is that a murderer like that should not come back. That is the reality. The two parties will never join. I will say that boldly. What are the parties asking? They are asking for the Prime Minister's post. The people did not appoint Maithripala Sirisena as the president to appoint Mahinda Rajapaksa as the Prime Minister. It was not to appoint Gota as the Defence Secretary. The people voted for him to nab the thieves and put them in jail. These foolies are trying to attack the president. Because the president has stopped the corruption, His Excellency has set up commissions for all the mistakes that has happened in this government. No one has pointed the finger at a single minister or a deputy minister in this LFP. It has been 3 years. Those people have not been kept in the cabinet of ministers.
එහෙම එක්කෙනෙක්ව යා කැබිනට් එකේ තියාගන්නේ.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party is preparing to take strict action against party activists who promote other political parties.
ඔට්ටුවත් එක්ක ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂය කිසිම සම්බන්ධතාවයක් නැහැ.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party does not have any connection with the flower bud. It is a party that was established to see destruction of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. If we are contesting with that party, it is unconstitutional. I would like to make it clear. If party members go to villages and make a speech or act in any manner that promotes another party or works to the victory of that party, we will gather material and resort to take legal action. It is our duty. We speak to you from the headquarters of Sri Lanka Freedom Party. Where do they speak from? They speak from the temple. If they are SLFP members, they must be present here. There is no other place for us to go and we don't need to go there. Even a kindergarten child knows if we split, we will not have the entire strength required. Based on that, we say, let's move ahead together. What can we do if they don't want to move together? Nevertheless, we will secure a win. A party cannot have two leaders. There can only be one leader. You cannot have two spoons for the soup. President Maithripala Sirisena is the legal leader of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. The spoon is with him and he will not give it to someone else.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ නීති අනුකූල නායකයා මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන ජනාධිපතිතුමා. ඒ හැඳ තියෙන එතුමාගේ අතේ.
With his own take on tonight's news, here is our cartoonist Asanga Ladduhetti.
Controversy once again surrounds the Sri Lanka cricket. For more, we now join Newsfirst Chaturang Hapuarachi.
Whoever we are, wherever we are from, we love a good game of cricket. With a lot of pride in our hearts, we call our team our Lions because they bring pride and honor to our country and to us when they play here and play overseas. We are going to talk to you about a situation where the governing body of Sri Lanka cricket has moved outside of procedure and done things that would cause disrepute to 9 Sri Lankan cricketers who had to go to the Bandaranaike International Airport, and 2 of them had already boarded a flight to go to India, not for a personal purpose, not for any other purpose, to play a match for our country representing Sri Lanka. They were trying to play 3 one-day international matches against India, and they were turned back because they did not receive the approval of the Minister of Sports. Now, Sri Lanka cricket is the authority that has to make sure that the players are not inconvenienced in this manner and that the due processes are carried out and these proper approvals and all of that is necessary for these team members to fly to India is granted by the minister. There are several individuals at Sri Lanka cricket in charge of media. There are 4 to be precise. And when we tried to call them and ask them what had happened with regard to these 9 players, a few people answered their phones and they said, look, we don't know the details pertaining to this matter. There is also an individual by the name of Ravin Wickramaratne, Deputy Secretary at Sri Lanka Cricket, who is the Director of Media. We tried to call him and he too did not answer his mobile phone. You may ask me, in a day and age like today where things can be done over emails and phone calls, whether these people, the people at SLT, could not facilitate these 9 players the approval that was necessary for these 9 players to travel to India to play the ODI, could not be received over a phone call or email. As you can see with what we are saying, these people, even though they have phone calls for the purpose given by Sri Lanka cricket to answer to the queries of the media, they have not attended their phones. An interesting fact here is that Thisara Pereira was appointed to the position of captain to lead the ODI series, was done on the 29th of last month, the 29th of November. It has been 4 days to yesterday until they could receive the approvals. They could have sent this list of 9 players that was required to play the ODI series, and they could have spoken to the minister and got this approval because they had 4 days after the 29th, and today is the 5th day. Up until today, they have not been able to do so. Why were these players turned back? Why did Sri Lanka cricket decide to go outside of procedure and do it without the approval of the minister? Up until today, when we received this media release This is dated 5th December 2017. No media release has been sent out by Sri Lanka Cricket. They have not informed as to who the players are that will be attending the ODI series. However, we received information today that 9 players had gone to the Bandaranaike International Airport. The players did not know that they had not received the approval of the minister to travel to India. They had 2 people had got on the plane, but they were asked to go back home by the minister because they had no approval. We also spoke to the Minister of Sports, Dayasri Jayasekara. This is what he had to say.
I have issued instructions to hand over the name list of any team 21 days in advance. I have issued the relevant circulars and regulations too. Sri Lanka Cricket had not obtained the approval before these players had left. The moment I was informed of this, I immediately stopped them and advised them to leave with my approval. Thereby, Sri Lanka Cricket had sent me the names of all the players by this morning, which I approved. If these matters are not corrected, there are 62 other clubs which are under us. They too will take off at any time without our approval. So I will not allow this to be a bad precedent. So I will not allow this to set a bad precedent. No sportsman can leave the country without the approval of the Ministry of Sports because we are responsible for them. If something happens to any player who has left without approval, that too will fall onto my head. In the midst of this issue, if there is a certain reimbursement of money to be paid by SLC, I have advised its president to find out the responsible officials behind this and claim that money from them. This will set an example to other sports clubs as well. Even the SLC president was unaware that these players were leaving last night. Usually they come to SLC first and meet the president, especially since we have a new captain, Thisara Pereira. So usually the SLC president wishes them good luck before they leave. A release is also issued to the media announcing the departure of the players, but none of this had happened. So this is a serious offence on the part of Sri Lanka Cricket, which I believe SLC should take a decision on.
On a previous occasion, we reminded to the people at the helm of the governing body of Sri Lanka Cricket to step down if they cannot do their job properly. Because this is what the people will look like. The spectators, the fans, the people who ardently love cricket in our country will look like at the end of the day if our team does not perform properly. If Sri Lanka Cricket cannot get together, put up a plan where 9 players receive approval to travel overseas to play the one-day internationals, how will they devise plan for our team to win? How will they make our team get that honor and pride that we were talking about? We remember how our team had to look at the ground and wait when certain spectators threw bottles into the ground at a previous match. This is what our team will look like if Sri Lanka Cricket does not get their act right.
Thank you, Chaturanga. Moving on to more local news. Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government, Faiza Mustafa, convened a media briefing today.
As
a minister, I am prepared to face not only one but 2 motions of no confidence. However, finally the truth has reigned supreme. The ministry has renovated a 1,360 km stretch road. The ministry has built 813 bridges, 140 public markets, 38 sports grounds, 586 schools, 207 laboratories, 340 ECU units and 1,812 children's care units. The revenue of 90% of the local government bodies have increased. However, I am not saying the political authorities is similar to the public officers. In 2 years, we have committed ourselves to increase the revenue as a ministry. Yes, please do. I have never said no. I am engaged in the duties of the Chairman of the Elections Commission. The Chairman of the Elections Commission has made a statement on that. However, as a citizen and minister, I must accept that. The allegation against me about the Gazette has been issued by His Excellency the President. I am not sure if the ministry is the pitch or the ball or even a football. We have no shortcoming in any of our avenues. I will not point my finger at anyone. We have made everything the Chairman of the Elections Commission needs available in order to hold an election.
December marks the end of the year with Christmas celebrations planned around the world. Newsfirst has switched on the Christmas lights at Echelon Square in Colombo, from where we are now joined by Newsfirst Jayamal Ratnayaka.
A very good evening to all our viewers. I am coming to you live from the Echelon Square in Colombo. TV1 along with Yes FM will be broadcasting live from the 5th to the 29th of December. Now we have a range of activities in store for anyone who will join us during the course of our stay. And I would also like to remind you that News First will be having a stall for anyone who is interested in TV presenting. And with that, I move on to the studio. Over to you, Azra.
Thank you, Jamal, for that update. We'll be back after this short commercial break.
Perpetual Treasuries Limited placed 2.25 billion rupees on its own, and Bank of Ceylon placed 13 billion rupees on behalf of PTL. Of that, PTL's 2.25 billion and 3 billion via BOC were accepted, a total of 5.25 billion. The total of 10.058 billion rupees in bids was accepted at that auction, making just over 50% of the accepted bids were in favor of PTL. How did that happen? It is now confirmed. Former Governor Arjuna Mahendran visited the Public Debt Department after the auction for the second time that day and ordered the PDD to accept 10.058 billion rupees in bids. Perpetual Treasuries is owned by the son-in-law of Arjuna Mahendran, Arjun Aloysius. Following public outcry of alleged impropriety over the central bank treasury bond issue, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe appointed a 3-member committee known as the Gamini Pitipana Committee. It was appointed on the 9th of March 2015. In its recommendations, it did not mention any questionable conduct of then Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran on his directive to accept 10 times the offered amount. CBSL personnel, activists and market players have said accepting 10 times the offer is highly unusual. As public outcry continued to grow, COPE of the 7th Parliament was tasked to investigate the bond issue. Sadly, Parliament was dissolved for elections before it could release its report. Thereafter, COPE of the 8th Parliament was tasked with investigating the matter as the media continued to raise questions about the impropriety of the bond issue. COPE, chaired by Sunil Handunnetti, were met with series of obstacles, the main one being UNP members of COPE adding footnotes to the final report. Among them was Sujiva Senasinghe. Senasinghe was appointed to COPE after one member resigned. The COPE report recommends former governor of the central bank Arjuna Mahendran should be held directly responsible over the bond transaction. The COPE chairman said, "The report contains recommendations and observations, and there is a clear difference in the report and the footnotes." During this period, Arjuna Mahendran was overseas. But there was continuous criticism and demand for justice, and this prompted President Maithripala Sirisena to appoint the Presidential Commission of Inquiry. Tomorrow, revelations made at the Presidential Commission.
Collaboration 2017, a summit to inspire action organized by Good People Private Limited, was held in Colombo today. Newsfirst was the media partner for this event.
The event was a collaboration of various volunteer organizations gathered at one location, providing an opportunity for volunteers to join initiatives that work towards helping those in need. Newsfirst Gum the Volunteer Task Force, or the V Squad, was also a part of the initiative.
We as Sri Lankans, we as global citizens, have been seeing an increased amount of global disasters, global conflicts, multiple conflicts, way more than we have seen in the recorded history of mankind. We have seen inequalities, and the list goes on. Have you done anything impactful to our communities as an individual, or have we done anything impactful in our communities?
We have only 12 years. It's about 5,000 days left until we have set ourselves ambitious targets in terms of reaching the global goals. We need to start thinking less about oneself, but thinking about one's neighbor and one's fellow community members. It seems to me that with 7 billion people in the globe and all the challenges we see around the world, there's a strong need that this kind of collective voluntarism and the vision for social well needs to be replicated and upscaled. And no better place than Sri Lanka. You are renowned worldwide for having promoted voluntarism.
Tonight on Biz in Focus, Nobel Peace Prize winner Professor Mohan Munasinghe, chairman of the Presidential Committee on Sustainability, discusses the progress Sri Lanka is making on the UN Sustainable Development Goals the country signed up to 2015.
And that's a wrap of this edition of Primetime News. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Azra Hassan.
And I'm Sandra Ferdinando. You take care and good night.